Hey guys, quick disclaimer. The Nosy Hens podcast talks about content that is not suitable for children and might bring you some discomfort too. This includes violence and abuse of all kinds, strong language, and graphic descriptions. Listener discretion is advised.
What you know about them hands? Hey, what you know about them hands? Hey, it's the Nosy Hens podcast. Hey, go get your mama. Hey, go get your cousin them. Hey, go get your brother them. Hey, we got a good show for you.
Yeah.
A good show for you.
Yeah.
A good show for you.
Yeah.
What a good show.
Yeah.
Said we got a good show for you.
Yeah.
A good show for you.
Yeah.
A good show
Yeah.
for you. Make
Yeah.
you wanna twerk
Yeah.
them feathers. Hey. Make you
y'all.
wanna twerk them feathers. Hey. Make you
y'all.
wanna twerk them feathers.
Hey.
Hey.
y'all. Hey y'all. Hey y'all.
Hey.
Hey y'all, what's up? It's the Nosy Hens podcast.
If y'all didn't know, I hope y'all like our song.
They do.
Because I love it.
Don't even ask them because they do.
So hard.
They do.
So hard.
Well, what's up, y'all? You know, I'm one of your favorite nosy hens. You can call me Judge.
Yes, I'm your other favorite nosy hen. You can call me A to the Rain because it's spelled like that, and some people just don't know how to pronounce my name right.
And you know what? If you make her mad, they call her a pain.
Okay, because I bring the knuckle sandwiches along with the air punches and a side order of kick.
You don't want it with her.
No, you don't.
So, yeah, guys, we're coming into another week, and I really want to talk about this story about a guy named Rolex Dave.
Come on, Rolex Dave.
Oh, Rolex Dave.
Come on, Rolex Dave.
And you know, Rolex Dave comes with a lot of baggage.
Yeah.
A lot of baggage.
I mean, if he walking around in Rolexes, sound like he got a lot of baggage on his back.
Okay, let me tell you something.
Expensive watch.
Oh yeah, Rolly Dave, he was rolling in it.
Yeah,
he really was.
Let me tell you something. I don't know how I don't know how people comfortably walk around with Rolexes on their arms.
The rollies on their wrists.
Yes.
How they comfortably do it?
Yes, like out in public. Because let me tell you something.
Right.
I twist this Apple Watch around so can't nobody see nothing but the band. Because you ain't about to jack me. But it's $300 watch. Let alone one that costs in the thousands.
You're a naturally paranoid woman.
I am.
But that's good.
I try not to.
You gotta keep your head on a swivel.
You gotta keep it on a swivel like a computer chair.
Yes. So, you know, I don't blame you. But old Rolly Dave now.
Come on, Rolly Dave.
Rolly Dave, he was pretty confident. He was pretty cocky. So he was like, you gonna see this Rolex on my wrist because you ain't gonna do nothing about it.
He had a dab of wrench. Mm-hmm. Is that what they say? Rolly with a side of wrench. Dab of wrench.
Girl, you know good. I don't know nothing about that.
My baby be singing. It's this video on YouTube that she just be dancing to. It's the kids out there dancing, and it's something about the Rolly with a dab or something. Side.
Girl.
And she just plays it over and over.
Oh, Lord.
And I just be like, please stop this song. Lord, puncture my ears so I don't have to hear this song
Jesus
one more
be
time.
An ice pick.
Yes.
Right now.
So Rolly Dan.
Yeah. No, Rolly Dave.
Rolly Dave. Not Dan.
Rolly Dan.
Rolly Dave had a dab of ranch.
He did.
All
did.
right,
So
I'll
let's
take
just
it.
get into this. Now, I want to also warn y'all that there are a lot of characters that I am going to be bringing up in this story. So try and keep up. I'm going to try and keep up.
I'm going to try to keep up.
But we're going to do the best we can. Just roll with.
Yes.
Rolly Dave. So listen to this. So on the morning of Friday, October the 3rd, 2003, there was a 32-year-old man by the name of Dave King Rolly Dave.
Rolly Dave.
And he had just left the gym with one of his friends when this white transit van rolls up, slows down as it passed. Now, as it passed, the passenger of the vehicle hangs out the window and starts firing 26 rounds of an a.k.a. 47.
This was a whole Ricky.
Yes. He hung out like that dude that took Ricky out.
Not Ricky.
Yeah.
Ricky.
Oh, Ricky, what they call him, Pretty Ricky.
Yeah.
But so 5 of those rounds of the 26 hit Dave, killing him instantly. Now,
5 of the 26.
5 of the 26. So that means 21 went all kinds of other places.
Right. And I've always heard that a bullet don't have no name.
It don't.
And that's sad and scary to think about.
Okay. Yeah.
Oof.
I mean, seriously, at any time. Now, Dave was a known drug dealer and a violent enforcer. And that's the reason why they called him Rolex, because he was part of this drug trafficking organization that was bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of heroin into the UK, and he was rolling in the money, and he loved his Rolexes. So that's the reason why his name was
he was rolling in the deep.
Rolling in the deep, right?
Rolling in the deep.
Yes. So King's fate, Dave King, Rolly Dave, his fate was sealed when his criminal associates suspected him of being a police informer. And so they hatched a plan to eliminate him. Yeah. I mean, I mean, that's what goes on.
That's what happens. Usually the person at the top,
now
it has to get chopped down a couple times.
Right. And this is all about these gangs in UK. And you are about to see that they are every bit as dangerous and every bit as ruthless as the gangs that we have here in America.
Yeah.
So during the 1990s, it was a small group of criminals that ruled the drug scene around Essex and East London. And they were flooding the streets and nightclubs with just ecstasy, cocaine, heroin, all of that. And then there was 3 drug dealers that were like at the top of the organization. And their names were Tony Tucker, Pat Tate, and Craig Rolfe. And they were known collectively as the Essex Boys. All right, so that's our first gang name.
Isn't that who Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are? They're the Duke and Duchess of Essex. Ooh, they got the bad neighborhood.
Right? Well, I mean, are you surprised? You know what I'm saying? Are you surprised?
Racism never stops.
So during the 1990s, Rolly Dave, sorry you guys, my throat did something. Okay, anyways, Rolly Dave came into contact with Tony Tucker. Now, Tony Tucker was also operating a North London shop selling muscle building supplements. So, you know, you have the drug ring and then you gotta launder the money. So he was selling that, and Rolly Dave was like 6'3". He was like 252 pounds, and he was trying to get bigger. So he goes into that shop. The 2 men bonded over there, shared interest in bodybuilding, and became friends. And then Rolly Dave started rolling with Tony Tucker. Now, Dave, like I said, he was tall and he was big, and he was more than capable of handling himself in a violent situation. But, like you said, bullets, you can't bring fists to a gunfight. You just can't do it.
No.
So the 2 men started working together as bodyguards for this super middleweight boxing champion. His name was Nigel Benn. And they loved, like, they were getting attention, they were getting girls, they were getting access to celebrities, and they were just living the life, okay, doing that and doing their side jobs. Now, Tucker also ran a lucrative security business that provided bouncers for clubs in Essex and East London, and that was bringing in Rolex Dave about like $1,800 a week.
A week?
A week in the 1990s.
I was going to say, being able to, like, with him having that business, with Tucker having that business, that has to be lucrative.
Right.
Because when you think of clubs, they always need some kind of security at the front.
Yeah.
Or just in case. So they usually employ, maybe 10 security?
Right. And then
That's
if you're
lucrative.
thinking about it, you like, oh, I'm finna go to the club where that security guard, he be security for the security. That famous dude. He be security for him, y'all.
He be security for him.
So that's bringing in kind of like some publicity too.
Yeah.
Well, Dave King, Rolex Dave, he earned himself a reputation as a really good fighter when he was working those doors. And then also they knew that the sale of drugs to the nightclubbers there was controlled, because Dave was controlling it.
Right.
Now, during this time of that height of them being pretty much celebrities by proxy, Dave ends up being sentenced to prison for fighting somebody. I think it was aside from the club. He wasn't bouncing, but he violently assaulted a man, and then he put him in the trunk of a car, a boot, if you will, the boot of the car. So
did he think nobody was gonna find him in the trunk?
Right.
He just thought that man was just gonna lay back there quietly and
right.
not be like,
right.
At least give myself a chance at life.
Right. I just don't know. So while he is in prison, his friend Tony Tucker ended up being murdered, along with Pat and Craig, the three that are running Essex. That all of the Essex boys are murdered.
Dang.
Right?
Dang.
So who's running Essex and East London and the drug ring now? Who's there?
Somebody gonna come in.
Right. So get this. So they get murdered and they are found shot to death in a Range Rover that was parked somewhere in Essex. Now, they thinking they're pretty much invincible. They had been running these streets for a long time.
Right.
Well, Craig Roth, he had been hit in the side of his face with a gun, okay? Not like hit with a gun. I mean, he had been blasted. All right, God. The side of his face was blasted. But even worse, Tony Tucker's face had pretty much been shot all the way off. Like, they said his face was obliterated.
They just didn't want nobody to know who he was.
Heck,
or they wanted somebody to know who he was, but they just wanted to show an example.
Yes, they were serious.
You know what's crazy to me?
What?
With the drug world and the gangs and stuff. What be crazy is people act like the market is so oversaturated.
Oh, I know.
Why can't he be on the top in his area? Why do you have to kill him off in order for you to be on top?
Egos, boo.
Because they could come together and be like, okay, this part of it, we gonna get this part. Because this part makes us about 15 million. Why do you have to have all of it? Why can't the 15 million
girl
be just good enough?
Egos and greed. Egos and greed. That's just it. That's crazy. Okay, so you had Craig blasted. Tony face gone. And in the back seat, Pat, he had been shot once in the stomach and twice in the head. Like, whoever did this to them they were not playing.
Right.
So, what do you think happens when old Rolex Dave gets out and finds that his friend has been murdered? His friends have been murdered.
He's about to go on let me go find who took my crew out.
Right? You would think, but guess what? Dave just joins another criminal organization.
Oh, that's deep. Well, there was no loyalty. What if Rolex Dave is the one that hired the hit for them so that he could get on top when he got out of prison?
Girl, you be thinking of some stuff.
Girl. Now, because how long was it like they got murdered?
Yeah.
And then like the following weeks.
In the following weeks.
He got out.
Yeah.
Oh, what if that's the case?
Girl, because you know you can hire hits from
prison.
Jail. Yeah.
Especially if you were already like known and... Dave, you 6 foot something or something. Okay. But that's just me getting to conclusions. Because that's a good thought, though.
It is. It really is. Nobody's ever said that before. So, girl, you done came up with the first theory. But, girl, so let me keep going. So he joins another criminal organization known as the Canning Town Firm. Sounds like a law office.
It sounds like a factory where I go get my carrots canned.
The Canning Town Firm. Well, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it sounds like you can your vegetables.
The Canning Town Firm.
People be putting their asparagus
where
in
we
there.
Can things.
Yeah. Where they do the mason jars with the stuff in it, the brine, and they put their vegetables in there.
Girl.
I feel like that tastes gross.
I know. I ain't too particularly into it.
Okay.
Well, he became close friends with one of its members. His name was Darren Peterson. And Darren Peterson was a violent, crazed individual who just absolutely loved violence. He loved it. He craved it. Okay.
Psycho.
Yeah. So when somebody spoke about him, they said that about the Canning Town Firm, they all were very violent. If somebody stepped on their feet, they got murdered. Darren was a space job.
Not a space job.
He was a space job. He wore cardigans and had his hair parted in a side. He looked nerdy, but he was a raging lunatic. Yeah.
I feel like that's always the look for...
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah, like that particular character of murder.
Yeah.
Because I feel like some of these murderers and serial killers are like characters.
Yeah, yeah.
But some of them have very similar
aesthetics and stuff, right?
Yes.
So one night, Rolex Dave, he gets into it with somebody at the Charlie Chan's North London nightclub. And there was a guy by the name of Ronnie Fuller who had been bouncing at that club that night. And he was already somebody that didn't really get along well with Darren Pearman. Did I say Pearson? I think I did.
Pearson.
Darren Pearman.
Pearman.
And so Ronnie Fuller, he ends up throwing Rolly Dave and the guy that he was into it with out of the club. He's like, y'all got to go. So, of course, Rolly Dave didn't like that. Darren Pearman didn't like that.
Those egos.
Yeah.
I get the best of you every time.
Darren and Ronnie, they were at odds already over a girl. Well, they had already fought one time, and Ronnie beat the mess out of Darren. And Darren didn't like that. Okay. So it was just a matter of time before Darren caught up with Ronnie. And so there was another fight that broke out when they were at a place called the Epping Forest Country Club. Epping. Not effing. Forest Country Club. And according to eyewitnesses, Pearman's gang, they jumped Ronnie. They just jumped him. They pulled out weapons and they started going in. Darren grabs a machete from a sofa inside of the country club. And he just
my.
You know what I'm saying? He whacking, okay? Well, guess what? Ronnie wasn't no punk. So Ronnie wrestles the machete out of Darren's hand and he kills Darren with the machete.
After he was all sliced up like a deli sandwich?
Slicing and dicing it. And Ronnie was like, just give me that. He was like, slice. It's over for you.
Dang. That's crazy that he was a ruthless little sussin. And he got took out like that.
Hey, because you can't think that you better than what you are.
That's true.
You just can't do it.
You're not invincible.
Know your limitations, people.
Not what's his name was, Ronnie was working off, adrenaline.
Yes.
Because how you sliced up like that, and you're like, I'm gonna still defeat you.
Okay. That's some straight up. Right? Right. That's what it is.
That's crazy.
Some straight up like Ninja Gaiden and shit.
Right.
So he was, Darren, he was stabbed and he was pronounced dead by the time that the ambulance rolled up, and he just was gone. All right. But some of his friends, not Rolly Dave, because I don't think Rolly Dave was even there at the time, but they were also injured. His brother was injured and it was just a big mess. Now, several months later, Ronnie Fuller and one of his associates, they were released because, Ronnie he can't, just get away.
Self-defense.
Right. Yeah. But they were released on bail, and Darren Pearman's people were not happy about it. I bet. They were not.
Because like every game, there always has to be some
exactly. You're going back and forth. It's like a tennis match of violence. You're just going back and forth. So on August 29th of 2000, Ronnie was blasted to death on the doorstep of his home in front of his wife. And that was due to retaliation.
Yeah, of course.
And it was said that it was through a hit that had been ordered by Darren Pearman's father. Yeah. And so what happened was he's on this step. I don't know if he's kissing his wife goodbye or what, but a guy on a motorcycle rolls up and just like, pew, pew, pew. Yeah. Just like, pew, 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 pew.
Girl.
Yeah, it was crazy.
The wives that be affiliated, the women that are affiliated with these gangs, it's like, well, you got to be just as ruthless, and you got to stand on your tiptoes.
Yes,
keep your head on the swivel too, because just because you're affiliated or have some kind of connection with the person they trying to retaliate against, girl, they could come after you.
You got to be a bad bee in more ways than one. And so when Pearman died, the gang refused to cooperate with the police about it at all. And they were like, we're going to sort it ourselves. You know what that means. You know what that means.
Killing spree.
Okay. So that happened. They thought it was due to the dad. Nobody can prove that. And the murder of Ronnie Fuller had never been solved.
Of course.
Yeah. Now, according to the police source, investigators suspected that it was his father, like I said, Christopher Pearman, but they just couldn't do anything about it. But it was later revealed that at the time of Darren Pearman's murder, the Epping Forest Country Club was owned by a guy named David Hunt. And he was considered also one of the most violent gangsters in the United Kingdom.
All of them are considered the most dangerous until they're taken out like an ant under a magnifying glass.
Yes, no kidding. So he was suspected of being the head of an organization known as the Hunt Syndicate. Really love that name. I don't know why. It just sounds
like a TV show.
The Hunt Syndicate? It does. You're right. So remember now, Rolex Dave, he was a part of the gang called the
Essex.
No.
Oh, shit.
He left the Essex Boys when they died, and he went on to the Canning Town firm. Well, according to a former member of the Canning Town firm, Rolex Dave, they didn't even want him in the gang. They didn't even
want. So why they let him in there? Because they thought it was
one of the leaders let him in. One of the leaders let him in, and even the leaders like that was the biggest mistake I ever freaking made.
So Rolly Dab a Ranch was just bringing too much heat.
He was. And they were like, they didn't like his attitude. He thought he was running stuff when he came in, and it was like, you know what? Y'all, you getting on my nerves, Rolly. You're getting on my nerves.
Yeah.
So he basically turned everybody against each other and just caused a lot of bad blood within that gang.
I can see why they would want to get rid of him.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the guys that, used to work with Rolly Dave, he said, quote, "He was a nice fella in his own way, but you wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of him." And another person said he was a violent bully, period. You know what I mean? So the police investigators, they linked Rolly Dave to the lucrative London trade in stolen watches. So that was also how he got his name. So now he's dabbling in stolen watches, drugs, and he's selling these things to Russia, to people up in Russia. Yeah, he is selling the watches to the people in the Russian mafia, and he begins forming connections with other criminal groups just around.
So he becoming high risk.
Yes, absolutely. Now, he eventually started his own nightclub called the Renaissance.
Come on, Beyonce.
Nice. Right.
Oh, I can't wait to go on that concert adventure.
Oh, man.
That tour.
Yeah. So it became just a huge known place of drug dealing, and it ended up being closed by the local council for non-payment of rent.
What? How long was it open for?
In 2002. So it was from 2000 to 2002. It wasn't very long at all. But Dave was he cool if it closed down, because he was, just using that as a laundering, front anyway. And also in the early 2000s, he had expanded his criminal activities. And like I said, he was selling stolen properties, drug dealing. He was trafficking large quantities of drugs into the UK. He was making hundreds of thousands of dollars in profit. And he also made hundreds of thousands of enemies.
Because he's stepping on a bunch of toes.
He is not caring.
Yeah, that mentality of, well, I did this before, and I was one of the leaders of this, and then you go to jail, and you probably put that hit out on the first group of boys.
Exactly.
And that's probably another reason why everybody was looking at him like, because I probably heard...
Right.
You just set it up for yourself.
Yes.
Rolly.
He had been setting it up for himself. He was flexing. He did not care. He knew that people wanted him. He knew that, but he didn't care.
He thought he was you only live one. YOLO.
Right.
Look, I don't want to YOLO.
Right. So now he knows that he's wanted. He doesn't care. He's still going to flex, but he does begin rolling with security and taking measures to be a little bit more cautious. Well, in June of 2002, a heroin shipment was intercepted by customs. And that's a relatively common occurrence to happen, but it was just a bunch of money that was involved in that, so it was kind of a big deal.
Right.
Rolly Dave and 4 of the people from the Canning Town firm, they get snatched up by the police. They get snatched up
like your mama.
Yes. So they were charged with drug offenses. But then the proceedings against Rolly Dave, they were dropped at an early stage of the court proceedings.
How? He paid them off.
He had to. He had to.
Yeah.
So they get off, but the other 4 men don't get off. Now, this prompted one of his co-defendants to shout in court. Shout out in court that he was a grass, which in UK slang means you rat.
You're a grass.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, he grassed on them.
Grassed.
He's a grasser.
Yes.
What?
And so
Tattletale.
That pretty much ends Dave's association with the Canning Town firm. Dave,
because how you get out and then your other boy's still in there.
Yeah. Dave is on his own now. And it was said that the gang had already been suspicious that there was a mole in the gang. But when Dave gets off early and easy, they it's him.
Right.
It's him. We ain't got to look no further.
Right.
So they put 2 and 2 together. they also put a bounty on old Rolly Dave's head.
I bet that it wasn't the bounty picker-upper, quick picker-upper.
Right. So Dave, now he realizes he's got a bounty on his head. So what do you think he's going to do? He's going to try and... No.
Let me tell you something. I'm hiding out in the nearest local bunker.
You hiding out, but Rolly Dave is trying to take people out first.
To what? Slow down his demise? Why you just taking people out?
What's that song with it wasn't See Murder, was it? You don't want to go to war?
I don't know what song.
Go to war?
I don't know.
I think it was one of the No Limit Soldiers.
I thought I told you.
So Dave was ready to go to war, bro. So what he does is he puts a hit on a man named David. Another David. Sharma. Okay, now Sharma was a one-time friend of Rolly Dave, but he was one of the 4 men that were picked up by customs and was in jail.
Okay. So he was trying to take them out. Right. So that it wouldn't look like he was a grass.
Right, exactly. So Dave was scared. Dave Sharma was scared. Rolly Dave was, like I said, 6'3". He's 252 pounds. And Dave don't want no parts of that. So when Dave does get out, he runs off to the Cans. It's in the south of France.
Oh, Cannes, like the Cannes.
Okay, yeah. So he runs off to Cannes, and he goes into hiding under a false identity. He don't want no parts. I
know that's right.
Now, the 2 other men who had been arrested with Rolly Dave and Dave Sharma were the names Roger Vincent and, you guessed it, David Smith.
Golly, that was a popular name back in the days, wasn't it?
Yes. Now, look, so because there are 3 Davids, I'm going to keep calling Dave King Rolly Dave. I'm going to call David Sharma, and then I'm going to call David Smith. Okay. So we can keep them
right, because it's straight. A whole bunch of Daves.
It is. It's hurting my mouth trying to keep talking about it. So when Vincent and Smith heard about Sharma, that there being a bounty on his head and he's running off, they pissed off. They're like, you ain't gonna do that to our friend. So what they do is they offer to have Dave killed in retaliation, which they were already ready to do. Right. So that was just another motive, right? For them to get, him out of there. So Vincent and Smith, they contracted an armed robber named Dean. Not Dave. Dean Spencer. And he was from Manchester, and he was ready to carry out the hit. Well, Smith, he armed himself with a Webley 38 pistol. Like, don't get me, I don't know those things, but that's what he did. And he loaded it with 5 bullets. And then one day he and Dean and one other man, they go to Rolly Dave's home in Stevenage on September 22nd, 2003. Now remember, Dave doesn't get killed till October 3rd, 2003, so something happened. Well, what happened was Rolly Dave already knew what was coming, and he was ready for them. So he had, been ready to go to war. When they do show up, he is already, wearing a bulletproof vest, and they just are kind of at a standoff. So can you imagine, like, he comes out on his lawn and everybody's just pointing. You seen it in the movie where everybody's just pointing guns at each other.
It's so intense.
I know. They're just pointing guns at each other.
As you're telling this story, I feel like I'm like watching a movie.
Right?
I'm like,
right.
This is like Scarface UK.
Seriously, it really is. So they are at a standoff. They pointing the guns at each other. Well, Dean Spencer, he was like, I ain't doing this. So he runs off.
What?
Yes. He's like, I'm done.
What was the point of doing all of this? You just put a target on your back.
Right.
From Rolex Dave and from the crew that you abandoned. They probably like, oh, nigga, you a chicken.
Girl.
You're grass. No, that's because that's a rat. You're a chicken.
Yeah, right. Right.
You're a nosy hen.
Hey, don't insult us like that. but for real though.
Oh.
Yes. So they are hot. Now, of course, like I said, they're hot, but especially Roger Vincent.
Oh.
He is hot because he didn't even want to get his hands dirty.
Right.
He didn't want to get his hands dirty, but he was like, man, nah, I fucking gotta do it myself.
Oh.
So Dean, he already knows what's up, okay? He just committed suicide.
Yeah.
Well, he ends up getting arrested at a later date for, committing another armed robbery. And my thing is, okay, you're okay with threatening people with guns. Like, why are you
like, Probably because it was the pressure of all of the power that was just standing there. Or the people that held, the leaders that held the power.
Yes.
And he's like, I'm a stick-up kid. I ain't no shooter kid.
Yeah, right. Oh. Yes. So he gets taken in for armed robbery. And when he's under questioning, he begins to sing like a canary. And he also talks about the plot to kill Rolex Dave.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So he is a grass now.
Yes.
And now you're about to be fed to the cows.
Girl, honestly.
What do grass-fed cows eat? Grass!
Exactly, bro. And so he said, he was like, when I saw how big he was, talking about Dave, and that he was wearing a bulletproof vest, I knew my little gun wasn't going to do anything to him.
Well, if you aim it in the right spaces, it would do something. And
I know.
There's like 30 other guns.
But you know what? That's the thing. And in gangs in general, not to stereotype all of them, but they hardly ever take target practice.
They just sit and shoot.
They just shooting. And it's not like Dean Spencer would could do aim right at the middle of his head. So he just he wasn't even confident in his guns. Like he just knew. So he had to get out of there.
That's one thing that I could give a round of applause, I guess. Look, some kind of way to Wayne Perry.
Yeah.
Was what he took his people and was like, y'all about to go learn how to shoot. Let's go do this aim and practice. So he wanted to make sure people was out on the count on the first try.
Yes.
These people, no sir.
Yeah. FYI guys, Wayne Perry is the Michael Jordan of killing. A-Rain talked about him last season. So if you haven't heard that episode,
please go check it out.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So Dean wasn't no dummy. But Roger Vincent heard that Dean Spencer chickened out.
Of course he did.
And he decided to take matters into his own hands.
Yep.
So he was going to do a drive-by with David Smith. And they were still intent on killing Rolex Dave. So Smith was going to act as the driver, and he was going to also assist in the murder, but Vincent was going to pretty much carry everything out. Now, they knew that Rolex Dave was walking around wearing bulletproof vest, so they had to go big. So they get a Hungarian-made Kalashnikov, a.k.a. 47 machine gun. And they also loaded it with a full metal jacket, which is armor-piercing bullets. They meant business.
They meant all of the small businesses and large corporations. They meant big pharma, big cigarette, big weed. They meant all of it. They said, no, nigga, you need to die.
They did. Oh my gosh. You are hilarious. They really did. So
I never knew what a full metal jacket was. I thought that was like
that's armor.
Like, that is cool. What is that?
You you don't want to find out.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, so how they managed to get their hands on that, I don't know. And the thing of it is the AKS 47, those are issued to paratroopers and members of the elite special forces.
Yeah.
So they have to have some kind of connection.
Yeah.
Like, how in the flip?
Because they had to buy their way into somebody. Look. We know that our government is not for us. So sometimes I feel like people can get away with paying off some of these leaders to be like, hey, just turn the blind eye, put a hand over your face.
Money.
And don't say nothing about me grabbing these hundreds of... Girl, why?
Money makes the world go round.
That's deep.
It does. And so the thing of it is, they are smart and stupid at the same time.
Yeah.
Because they're making plans to kill Rolex Dave over their cell phones. They're doing that, and that later, of course, the police would use that to help make convictions.
They didn't really think about the logistics of it.
No.
We're just going to do this over the phone.
Right.
Police, FBI agents.
Girl.
Let me tell on myself.
Seriously. So, you know what happened. Y'all know what happened. Rolex Dave is leaving the gym one early morning. White van pulls up. They shoot 26 rounds. Rolex Dave gets hit 5 or 6 times. He's killed instantly. He was struck at close range by those 5 rounds. And remember, those are armor-piercing bullets. So his body was lit up. And and so he had 3 that hit him in the leg. There was some that hit him in the chest and some that hit him in the arm. Probably the one that hit him in the chest maybe got to his heart, or if you get hit in the arm, that can get you to the heart. So he's gone. Now, other rounds that hit Dave's car. Other rounds hit the bodyguard Ian Crocker. And then there were others that were later even found in the walls of the gym. Now, they didn't say if any innocent bystanders aside from Ian. Is Ian innocent? I don't know. But
he's a bystander.
Yeah. So they didn't say if any other bystanders get hit, but the bullets are going everywhere.
I just want to go to the gym.
Right.
And I don't want anybody to look at me. And I don't, especially this, I don't want to get shot.
Right.
I'm just trying to get the baby weight off.
Exactly.
I ain't coming to get shot up.
Right.
With a full metal jacket.
Just work out in peace.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So, and at this point, I really don't even think that Roger Vincent was even concerned with getting caught. Not as much as he was as concerned with catching up with old Rolex Dave.
Right.
Like, he cared about that much more. The police were able to, get CCTV recordings. There was like descriptions of the suspects from witnesses. There was like surveillance and just a bunch of the conversations were recorded. Like, they left evidence everywhere.
That's deep. Y'all just gave yourself
They did. And the police were able to put together a profile of the murder, and they were able to later present that in courts that, got Vincent and Smith. Now, very interestingly enough, the murder was the first time that an AKS 47 weapon had been used, among civilians in Britain. Ever.
Well, their gun laws, because they just be giving away AK-47s over here. Oh, we have this one. It's purple, pink, gold, blue, orange. Just raging big.
Right.
They just give it away over here like Skittles.
You ain't lying. So, and we're coming to the end, guys. I'm coming to the end of the story. But this has been a long movie kind of story.
Okay, it's so Scarfaces.
It is. It really
Scarfacey.
It is. So after the drive-by, Vincent and Smith, they do end up taking off in 2 cars, the van, and then there was another getaway car. I think it was like a Mercedes. So when they get somewhere that they feel like they're safe, they go ahead and get out the cars. They set the cars on fire. Yeah. They still...
What a way to get yourself caught.
They still failed to get rid of everything because there was like a plastic glove that had Smith's palm print in it near the car. Yeah. And then also, this is so funny. The following day of the murder, there was a couple walking. They were holding hands and just being in love and walking. They see somebody throw a red sports bag into the water and see that dude take off running away. They're like, honey, let's go see what that bag was.
What?
Yeah. So they go to retrieve the bag that they see somebody running and throwing into the water and running away.
You don't know what's in the bag. It could have been explosive that he was trying to save us from.
Okay.
Now you about to get shablown up.
Come on. It could have been anything. They get the bag out the water and they see the AKS 47 and they contact the police.
Well, I guess, you got to do what it takes.
I'm sorry.
You got to do what it takes to be a nosy hen. And they were nosy hens, okay? But let me tell you.
They took the nosy hens to the extreme.
Okay, I'm like, that ain't in the nosy hens
If I
playbook.
see somebody, throwing something in the water, running away, I'm running the opposite way.
Okay, and I'm calling 911 as I'm doing that. I ain't going to run to it.
Come on.
And then touch it.
And touched it.
That's you messing up evidence.
Girl, they wasn't thinking. They wasn't thinking. But, it helped the police because the police, they got that gun and they were able to prove that it was the gun used to kill Rolex Dave. Now, on the gun ammo, they found trace amounts of DNA of David Smith's. Mm-hmm. And then they also... on the sports bag, I have no idea what happened, but they find some of Roger Vincent's DNA from saliva on the bag. So was Vincent drooling as he was running?
Right.
Did he lick the bag?
Or did he go...
Exactly, he did something. His saliva is on the bag. Then only minutes after they did the deed, they called Sharma, all right?
Yeah, of course.
And they were like, hey, we got Rolex Dave for you.
Yep.
And they were like, you don't have to worry about anything anymore, guy. And Rolex Dave, not Rolex Dave, but Sharma was like, I'm finna stay in hiding.
Okay.
Because y'all stupid.
Okay.
You just called me on the phone.
Now I have to go change my name again. I gotta change my name again.
Bro.
And now I gotta go get a new number.
Bro.
And throw this one where in the trash can.
Exactly. Because the police tried to use that to implicate Sharma as knowing the plot against Rolex Dave. So they done freaking pulled him into the mess. And he was just trying to live his life.
He was just trying to go straight.
He was trying to get away and keep undercover and, Them dudes was stupid. They were the two stooges. Oh my God. So they were able to end up catching up with Roger Vincent and Dave Smith. And but before that happened, there was a guy named Julian Elfs. I think this is the last guy I'm going to introduce into the story. But there was a guy named Julian Elfs, and he assisted Roger Vincent, at least, with laying low after the shooting. But when they did catch up with Roger Vincent, it wasn't that long after the murder. Mm-hmm. And so Roger starts bragging about all of the riches that he had made during his drug dealing days and all of this. Yeah. And he's just like proud of himself. And he gets charged with old Rolly Dave's murder.
Yeah.
Now, at the time, he had like $2 million frozen by the court. So he couldn't use that, for his defense.
So he was thinking, yeah, I could just buy my way out of this.
Right. That's what he was thinking.
Talk. Grass. Not
Right.
greener. On
Right.
the other side.
Right. Right. Oh my gosh. So, his part in the murder, he gets 30 years. Sad thing is, he was a father of 4.
Oh.
Rolly Dave was a father of 2 at the time that he was killed. And it's just like, y'all are not thinking about none of that.
Y'all seriously just left your kids fatherless.
Exactly. So Dave Smith, he was sentenced to 25 years for his part. And the guy Julian Elfs, he was jailed 5 years for just, helping Vincent lay low. Now, Dean Spencer, he admitted to conspiring to the murder of Rolly Dave, and he was sentenced at a later date. But my thing was, he chickened out. He didn't go through with it. But I guess, he
conspired.
He conspired, and if he hadn't chickened out, then that would have been the, point. So he got what he got. And then after they all were convicted, the judge said, quote, "This was a thoroughly planned, ruthless, and brutally executed assassination of a criminal by a small team. It was committed in a public street during daytime and involved an automatic firearm. It was only by great fortune that no other passersby were seriously injured or worse." So now we know, nobody had, gotten killed or anything like that. So they got what they got for that. Now, the murder of Rolly Dave had been orchestrated as a plot to eliminate him before he managed to kill Dave Sharma. Like I said, the two killers' friends were friends with Sharma, and they offered to, kill him without any pay. They just wanted to do that off their friendship. Well, Rolly Dave, he was, like I said, he was a super dangerous individual, but he still had kids.
Right.
And he had parents that loved them. So when that happened, his parents made a statement and they said, quote, "He was ambitious for himself and for his family and wanted the very best for his children. He was a devout Muslim, and his bodybuilding formed a great part of his lifestyle. He was proud of his appearance and a perfectionist in all that he did."
Yeah, because he perfectly just like went in and wrecked shop. And got himself killed. So he was a perfectionist.
Yes. And then to end here, it says the violent death of Dave King came as a shock to the community. But in the criminal underworld, rivalries and killings are not uncommon. We know that.
Right.
Well, police said that, quote, "Whatever someone's past, no one deserves to be killed like this, but it was the way of the world that he operated in."
Yep.
Unquote.
We always say that.
Yeah.
We always say that if you in a gang,
with the territory.
right, you know that you can shorten your life when you join any kind of drug cartel.
Period. From the very beginning.
Kind of gang, you know that you ain't living past probably 26.
I mean, period. and then my thing is, don't be selfish and have kids. Don't. If this is the lifestyle that you want to live, do not
just
be
by
selfish.
yourself. Yeah.
You can
be like those romance novels where the people that live, they work, they know they work in a high risk environment. They just stay loners.
All they do is smash women.
And that's it.
But they make sure that they don't have kids.
Right.
They don't fall in love.
That's crazy.
Don't be like Ronnie Fuller, who he gets murdered right in front of his wife.
Yeah.
That's
traumatizing to her.
It is.
And I don't know if they had kids, but if she did, that's traumatizing to the kids too.
Exactly. But I mean, what do you think? Like, are they just as ruthless as the gangs here?
I feel like it's similar.
Yeah.
I feel like it's pretty much, especially the gangs, because I feel like the more like organized. So like the mafias and things like that. Like, yeah, it's just as bad because it is these leaders just trying to take each other out.
Crazy.
And for what? They don't even know what they're trying to take each other. By the time one of them do get murdered or put in prison, they really don't know. Like, what are y'all fighting for? What was y'all fighting for?
Honestly, I can guarantee they can't trace it back.
No,
they can't.
Like, is it because he was getting popular and he was making more money in my territory? Well, split that shit up. Hey man, come here. Look, let me lay it out for you. This section right here is mine, but it's a section that's right next to it that ain't really being touched. You could make some money there too. We could help each other out. Shoot, if you really want to be organized and criminal.
Right, because really their enemy is the system. Their enemy is, law enforcement. Yeah. Like, why are you guys adding on unnecessary enemies? Well, what do you guys think? Do you think that the UK gangs are more ruthless, or the gangs here in the States are more ruthless? Or if you're in another country, can you tell us some stories about some gangs in y'all area? Because we want to hear it. Yeah. So email us. Hey, Rain, what is our email address?
It is the Nosy Hens podcast @gmail.com.
Or you can slide into our DMs and
the Nosy Hens podcast,
and just let us know. We want to hear that story. We really do. And we want to hear you if you just want to say hey. Yeah. We want to hear from you.
Or if y'all have any suggestions.
Or if you having a bad day and you want us to make you laugh.
Yes.
We can do that.
We're here for you.
We care about you.
Yes, we do.
I just wanted to see how low my voice is going. But y'all know we really do care about you. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the story. And we will be back next week with another good one.
Next week. Until then.
Bye.